Hi, I'm Tricia Weston. I'm with the association, and I'm here with Bret Johnson, who's also with the association. And we're here to talk about how to be more likable, and as that relates to big collaboration as part of our Human Intelligence series. So Bret, is it true that asking questions makes you more likable?
Yes and no. So you would need to ask a follow-up question to be more likable. If you just ask a question, that doesn't necessarily make you more likable.
Oh, okay. Well then, so here's a follow-up question.
Okay.
Where did you learn about this?
Actually, it was on NPR not that
yeah.
long ago. There was a study done at Harvard by a PhD student and some of her colleagues looking into conversation and likability and questions and likability. And that's what they discovered is you need to ask a follow-up question. And as a matter of fact, I feel it working right now. I like you more than I did 4 minutes ago, so I would give a big thumbs up if I'm out there in the audience looking at this. So yeah, you're more likable.
So when you meet someone, it's not just about like how's the weather. It's actually taking it one step further so that that person really sees that you're interested in them.
It shows you're listening.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
asking a question and not asking a follow-up, especially where it's clear that a follow-up would be needed, can have the opposite effect.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's just about making that connection, right?
Absolutely.
So what is big collaboration then?
Big collaboration is the mindset that every individual in an organization can bring value by understanding and looking at the big picture, by having a handle on sort of the overall health of the organization, maybe understanding a little bit about the P&L, and also participating in innovation activities. And you really have to know more about what's going on around you to be innovative. It really helps.
And that's where asking the questions comes in. If you're asking the follow-up questions in that collaborative approach, it shows that you're interested, it builds the team, and actually probably forwards the whole, the enthusiasm for the project and what you're working on, right?
Yeah, and I've seen this because in sort of coming up with the concept of big collaboration, what I've found is that in doing partnerships, which is what my team does, we see a lot of the effects of this. We see sort of the same outcomes. People like us.
Yeah. So
right, we think they do.
So why is it called big collaboration?
Well, it's similar. I know what you're going to say, right? Big it's a
big
buzzwordy.
It sounds like a buzzword.
It's buzzwordy. Right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
so, I guess you said before, big picture. We were talking about is important, but it is a play on big data, and you hear a lot about big data. Big collaboration is similar in that you should have so much coming in, so much input, so many ideas that you will actually have to come up with a structure to manage all of that.
Right.
So that's similar.
So that the good ones come to the top, and
well, and so that you're making proper use of them. But what I guess another thing that's similar to big data is that the input will be structured and unstructured. It should be coming in a lot of different ways. So there's that as well.
Right, right. So how can an individual contribute to big collaboration? What does it look like?
So from an individual perspective, I think number one thing that you need is curiosity. And if you don't have that naturally, you can put that in your calendar to be more curious. But you should be, obviously asking questions. You should be maybe reading some journals that are related to what you're doing. You should do research, look at data that your own organization has. But really, it boils down to understanding what you do well versus what others do well, internally, externally, that sort of thing.
Right.
So that's one way, is really that curiosity and asking questions. Another way that an individual can contribute is to take that to the next level and understand what's the mechanism for sharing what you've learned, or what's how do you let somebody know, I've got this great idea. Who do you go to? Do you just tell your friend and you have you can and you should share your ideas and have that kind of interaction. But there should be a way internally that you can get that message passed on and shared with others in the organization. So there's that, and that, I guess the other thing that I would say is there are going to be tools in place like business intelligence, things like that. If you can get access to those, where you can actually ask questions of the data, that's another way you can contribute.
I don't think it is necessarily forced curiosity. You don't have to ask the questions for the sake of doing this, because sometimes those questions you really need to understand to do your role in the collaborative approach. I mean, everybody sort of has a play and a role in that. And in order to function in your function, if I'm a marketing person, I'm going to have to know more. I'm going to have to continue to ask the questions to do what I need to do, right?
Yeah, I think it comes more natural for some people, and you obviously are really good at it. And like by this point, I like you like 10 times as much as I did at the beginning of the conversation.
Keep asking questions.
But there are ways that an individual can benefit from this, and that includes you're becoming more connected to people at work, right? You feel more empowered. If you know on a bigger picture what you're trying to do, if you understand your strategic objectives or strategic initiatives at your organization, you'll feel more in control. But from I think one of the biggest opportunities that makes this interesting to an individual is it has massive career benefits. Yeah. This is the thing that can get you impassioned about a topic. It can turn you into an expert because you're doing what you're doing, but it also builds your network internally and externally. If you're out there and you're asking questions and people are liking you more, they're going to want to work with you in the future. Right. And even externally, this may make you more attractive to an outside employer.
Absolutely. Well, and I can imagine too that even as a collaborator, you all, in this situation, I think part of us have a role in pulling people in who naturally aren't collaborators by asking them questions. I think sometimes folks who aren't part of a collaborative process, as the research had shown, are probably a little more lonely at work.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's interesting. There was a recent article in the Harvard Business Review that talks about that, and loneliness is a problem in corporate America. People are twice as likely to be lonely in the workplace. I think it went from like the 80s to today, from 20% to 40% of people say they're actually lonely. So this is something that can connect people.
Yeah, yeah.
But more than pulling in the individuals, I think also we also should be looking at maybe stagnant conversations and thinking about how can we make those more collaborative, and by asking additional questions. It's the kind of thing that maybe if you're working with a client, you can start to think is from a big collaboration perspective, and you can uncover new services that you can provide to a client, something like that.
I see. Okay. So how do you get started with big collaboration? What are some tips?
Some tips, some things to take away.
Well,
number one, I would say all of this is much better if it's in context, right? So know your organization's strategic initiatives, because that will tell you this piece of feedback that I'm going to give is going to be maybe a little better received than this other piece of feedback. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't think broader than the strategic initiatives, but that context does help. It also helps, I find, to set aside time to be mindful of this, and
that's
to
like the
think
hardest
about the big
part,
picture.
right?
Yeah,
it is to carve out the time to do it. We're so busy and in meetings all the time. Sure.
I would say actually it's a good idea to put it on your schedule.
Yeah.
Set aside the time by blocking it off. Put it on your schedule. Another thing to do, and I actually end up doing this multiple times a week, but if it's something that's not natural to someone, I would schedule this as well. I would set aside time to go out and find something to be impressed with, because that is a piece of knowing what you do well. You may think you do something really, really well, and that's core, and you need to keep doing it. But you may look around and say, this is done much better over here. And,
right.
you know, so that's that being impressed and then taking that in and sharing that.
Is that through, reading Harvard Business Review, or and you see these things in your Facebook feed? I mean, what kind of sources are you thinking?
So, yes, it can be through reading something. I find it's much better if you go out and talk to folks. It's just because you can dig a little deeper, and you're much more likely to find something that you find intriguing if you're asking questions, and it's not, you know, a unresponsive computer screen or piece of paper coming back at you.
Sure.
So and those sources for that, it shouldn't be limited to just directly in your area of business. You know, you can learn something from a software company or someone providing a service, or you know, so it can be in a lot of different places and from a lot of different people.
Or I was going to say, even your friends. I mean, usually you're not talking to your friends about work and what they do and how they do things better, and they're right there. And you know, you get to ask more questions, and it gives you that opportunity to make that connection and be more likable. And I think too, multitasking, right? Multitasking is something you want to avoid, right? We do that so much.
Oh yeah, I would probably leave you with this thought, because you know, you hear this all the time. Why not to multitask? It's rude, you know. So if you want to be likable, don't multitask. Mom says not to multitask, so don't multitask. No. But the last one is, if you're multitasking, you're missing an opportunity to learn about your organization, and so if you are engaged and you're asking questions, that's a piece of big collaboration. Multitasking may feel good to get stuff done, but you're really missing out.
You miss the opportunity to ask the follow-up question, to be engaged, and to make the connection, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Well, this is terrific. Thank you so much. We appreciate everybody joining us today for this Facebook Live. Please go to Facebook, like us, follow us, and this way you'll learn more about the Human Intelligence series as we move down this path. Thanks a lot, you guys.